So far, we've seen how Whiteboard can immediately bring in our content that we've already created. I didn't have to start from scratch. But some content lives outside of our cloud storage. Some of it is web-based. As an example, the PhET website. This is a great math and science simulation resource. I know many of you use online curriculums. How do we use Whiteboard with a website? That's just something that can't be imported, right? Well, let's go back to Whiteboard and let's focus on this tool down here. Now, this is a Windows-only feature. However, what it does is it allows us to essentially go into desktop mode. We call this Windows toggle, or I call it Write on Anywhere. So when we press this button, you'll notice that it actually hides our canvas. And now we can see the PhET simulation website. Now my hand is still in what we call mouse mode. So we can go over here and get our skateboarder, put them on the ramp, and they can start going backwards. Now, if I was teaching a lesson, I might ask students to predict where our skateboarder would end up if we adjusted something like friction or gravity. Well, how do I write on this? How do I do that in this current mode? If you notice over here on the right, when I touched that toggle mode, this floating toolbar came up. So I'm actually still in Whiteboard even though I'm on the desktop. If I touch the Whiteboard icon on the top, this takes me back to my canvas. That's why we call it toggle, because I'm essentially switching from my Whiteboard to desktop mode. So let's go ahead and switch back to our desktop mode or toggle mode. And let's turn on our pen. Remember, I said every time we touch, we're currently clicking. If you go to the toolbar at the very bottom, you'll see the pen icon. Let's select that and you'll see that my entire menu expands. So now I'm not in click mode anymore, I'm in create mode. And what this allows me to do is I can choose different pen colors, I could draw shapes or do whatever that is. But let's just do some sample predicting. So we're going to increase friction. So group 1 thinks the skateboarder will stop there. Group 3 thinks they're going to stop there. And group 2 thinks they're going to stop there. Well, normally this would be a problem because if I try to go increase friction, well, I can't do that because I'm still in pen mode. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch back to mouse mode. And when I do this, what it does is it turns off my pen, and now I can click and interact with my website. So if I want to increase the friction, I can drag the slider over, and we can see here our skateboarder begins to decrease, right, because the friction increased. And congratulations to group 3, they made the correct prediction. Now this is an overlay, meaning it's not actually sticking on the website. It's impossible for us to actually write inside the website. So if you ever taught with an overhead projector and vis-a-vis markers, right, you know what I'm talking about. So I have a couple choices. One, I could just clear all this out, or I could return to my Whiteboard. But what if I wanted to capture this? What if I wanted to add this to my notes? That's where our screen capture tool comes into play. Anytime you see that camera lens in our software, that's take a picture or capture something. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and we're going to use our area capture. What this does is it grays out the screen and allows me to choose a selection, and when I let go, you'll see here that it takes a picture and then puts it on my canvas. So this is a great way to be able to go outside of Whiteboard and access that web-based content that can't be imported. Finally, we have